a gift. You can't unregenerate yourself. It's not a biblical concept. You're like, oh, you know, the Bible talks a lot about losing your salvation. Where? It's not a concept in the Bible. And let me just say this, is that Pentecostals, like pretty much every false cult who claims to be Christian, to them, every verse about salvation is salvation. Like everything in the Bible has to do with salvation. They don't realize that like saved, salvation, you know, those terms, though, yes, many times are used to describe the doctrine of justification, in some instances, it's not even talking about salvation. But to them, everything in the Bible has to do with getting saved. But you know what? If everything in the Bible has to do with getting saved, why would God write 66 books about it? You only need a couple, you know, you have the New Testament where the doctrine is sprinkled throughout. You know, you have the book of John, you have some of the epistles, but the vast majority of the content of the Bible is to help you be perfected in the Lord, to live a sanctified life, to obey the will of the Lord, because there's things that we're supposed to do outside and after salvation, okay? But to them, it's like everything has to do with salvation. Oh, the soul that sinneth, it shall die. That's salvation there. No, it's not. Because in the Old Testament, when the soul is mentioned, it's often referring to a physical body. And that's hard for people to comprehend, but you know what? That's your fault. Because you're supposed to read things in its context. You know, there are instances where the soul is mentioned and it's referring to that, you know, that the spirit that dwells within us, the immaterial aspect of our being, yes. But there are other instances where it's literally referring to or used in conjunction with the physical body itself. Let me give you an example. You know, in the book of Leviticus, it says, when a soul toucheth any unclean thing. What is that, astral projection or what? Is that when you fall asleep and you can see your body laying there and then you just go touch some unclean thing? Obviously, in its context, what is it referring to? The physical body itself. It's not hard to understand that. But you know what? I don't blame Pentecostals for not understanding that, because it takes being saved to understand that. The Bible says in John 11:26, whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? The Bible says in John 5:24, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death into life, but then back to death if you sin. No, it's just passed from death into life. And I love how the Bible describes salvation as being born again. Because, you know, it's given us the picture of physical birth. And when someone is physically born, they don't have to keep getting physically born every year to stay alive.